Hello, Do You Even Blog Tribe on YouTube and listening on the podcast. In this episode, I'm going to share my second YouTube channel with you and how I've grown it to about 3 million views in 3 years. Still a couple of months off from that. I'm at like 2.7 million views right now, over 150K in revenue, and with zero social media. I have no social media channels for this brand. I don't have an email list. And I think I have a unique approach to growing a YouTube channel, and I'm going to share my strategies and basically just everything I've done in this video. Let's dive in. So results, I already mentioned, 3 million views will be about 3 years. Lots of revenue, most of which came from affiliate marketing because this is a product niche, and a decent amount from the website ads. I started a website alongside this video, and it kind of died off about a year ago. But 10% maybe from YouTube ads. YouTube ads is probably like, what was it? 4,000? That's about 4,000. 3,900, 4,000, not much. So let's dive in to the niche. A few things that I did intentionally and a few lessons I've learned. So the niche is mechanical keyboards. I don't remember if I mentioned that or not. Mechanical keyboards. My super nerds out there already get it. And if you don't know what that is, well, actually go look at my channel. Go say, what is a mechanical keyboard on YouTube? I'll probably pop right up. In fact, here on the YouTube, I'm actually just going to do it to see what happens. What is a mechanical keyboard? So I chose this because I was interested in the topic. Okay, I'm totally not number one at all. Hey, there I am. I'm like number 5. Doesn't matter. I chose this because I'm interested in it, and I'd still recommend everybody anywhere who's starting a content brand. You don't have to be like, it doesn't have to be your life's purpose, absolute passion, but you have to have some passing interest. If you're just in it for the money, I really don't think it's going to work out, or it's going to be very difficult for lots of different reasons. I'm not even going to go into all the reasons, but for lots of reasons. Over time, so much easier to stay motivated and do well and be an authoritative person, be an authority if you're interested. Okay, here's tip number 1, really. Video first topic. Some topics probably do best in text form, honestly. Lots and lots of numbers and calculations. If you're trying to teach calculus and literally just a talking head video about it, that's probably not going to work. It's going to be really hard. You need to show people stuff. Video would work for that, or blogs or images or whatever. Interviews, person to person, works great on audio. Doesn't necessarily need video. Mechanical keyboards, the nerds are into it, by the way, because of the way they look and the way they sound, and also the way they feel, but I can't really teach that at all. Sports is another good one. I could teach you how to play pickleball with a blog post. It's actually harder than just giving you a 2-minute video showing you how to play pickleball or something like that. There's lots of niches that work best, probably, video first. And this is one of those things. I knew this right off the bat. I got into mechanical keyboards, and where did I go? When I had questions, I went to YouTube exclusively. When I first got into this hobby, it was video first topic, for sure. Moving on. This is a big one, actually. There were lots of different products to review, but it's still kind of a small niche. Here's what I mean. There's not 5 mechanical keyboards. There's not even 5 mechanical keyboard brands. There's 500, right? There's lots of different things, accessories, keycaps, switches, keyboards, tools to modify a keyboard. Like, there's just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of products, even in this small niche, which means I could choose things to review, keyboards to review, for example, that didn't have a lot of competition. Some of the bigger keyboard brands just didn't cover this particular keyboard because it's such a small little thing, right? This is a small company. It's a new product, that sort of thing. Lots of different stuff that I could cover that was just not as much competition. That was big. I found this out, by the way, using Morning Fame. This is the first tool I'm going to mention. Morning Fame's fantastic for YouTubers, especially if you're doing search. Like if you're geared towards search, which we'll talk about in a second, SEO, both Google and YouTube, Morning Fame is fantastic. And I found this out really quickly. I would do some research on mechanical keyboards, and I'd be like, I've never even heard of this brand. I've never even heard of this company, but it's getting this amount of search on YouTube. That's insane. And no one's got a video on it? This comes down to the niche, not the keyword research. Lots of products to review that were pretty affordable, I might add. So there wasn't as much competition there. Again, affordable. I also started a fountain pen brand. I should have started a YouTube channel. It probably would have done pretty well. That was another one that I was like, there are so many nerdy fountain pen things out there. Pens and pencils and journals and high-end paper and all that sort of stuff. Calligraphy pens. There's so much, hundreds and hundreds of different products, and they're all pretty affordable. There are expensive fountain pens out there, but you could also just spend a few bucks to get this one little thing and make a video about it. Some niches are not, I talked about pickleball earlier. Pickleball is going to be a tutorial-based thing. If you want to do a product-based pickleball brand, meaning you do pickleball paddle reviews, and some people do, by the way, but those are expensive. This is not like a cheap thing. Hundreds and hundreds of dollars you're going to be spending per paddle in some cases, that sort of thing, right? This niche, the mechanical keyboard niche, I knew all this stuff up front. There was lots of things I could review. They were mostly affordable. And this is a video-first topic. That was the sweet spot right there. I knew this before I started. That's why I thought this was going to work. Those three things were the biggest thing. The last part on this niche topic were there were lots of companies willing to send me free products for review. I didn't know this going in. I didn't expect this. But even around 1,000 subscribers, what did I say I'm at now? Like 7,000? 7,700 subscribers? Of course, that's what it doesn't matter that much, by the way, for YouTube growth subscribers. It matters a little bit for sure, but it matters for doing business with partners. And no joke, even less than 1,000 people were like emailing me. Hey, I saw you have a YouTube channel. I'll send you this thing to review. Did not expect this. And not just like no-name companies, although certainly at first, but now pretty big companies. Some of the biggest brands in gaming peripherals, keyboards, mouse, headphones, that sort of stuff. Razer. I've worked with Razer and Red Dragon and a handful of others, right? These are big gaming companies. That's pretty wild. I didn't know that going in. I don't think that's more of a tip, but it's something I found out. Okay, let's talk strategy. Right from the beginning of this YouTube channel, I knew I did not want to do social media. I didn't want to do email either, and I didn't. I wish I had now, looking back. But 100% search, both YouTube search and Google search. I knew this going in because I did my research. I saw those videos in Google results. I looked in Morning Fame, which was my YouTube SEO tool of choice, and I just saw there's search here. There's not a lot of competition because of the sheer breadth of products that I could look at in mechanical keyboards. I also had this theory that this was almost 3 years ago at this point, so I wouldn't suggest doing this now unless you really know what you're doing. But I had a theory that a website would drive YouTube growth and vice versa. I would link back to the website. I would link to my YouTube videos. I would create a blog post for every video I did. I didn't actually do that. But I did start a website, and I did have some overlap where I had a YouTube video for a product review, and based on that video, I just whipped up a blog post to accompany it, which made it easier, right? I'd already done the research for the video, and I had the script, and I could literally just copy and paste the transcript to like a blog post and then work it out, and it was faster that way. I don't actually think this worked all that much. I think the website made money. I think the YouTube channel made money and had growth, and I don't think they helped each other out all that much. At least that's kind of what I gathered, right? So actually just checking out traffic source on my YouTube analytics, and YouTube search is 61%. Actually, this is just the last month. I'd actually probably say historically, it's probably even more lifetime. I'm just curious now. Lifetime. Okay, 68% from YouTube search. And yet, there's a ton of people on YouTube, the YouTubers who teach you how to YouTube are talking about not search. They're talking about your recommended feed, the sidebar, all this other stuff. 69%, 68.7 to be honest. 1.8 million views came from search. YouTube search, either. That doesn't include Google search, I don't think, which is traffic from websites and apps. That's super interesting. Another 11.8% came from quote unquote external. I'm looking at my YouTube analytics right now. I don't know exactly what that means, but a lot of that is from traffic from websites and apps that embed your videos or link to your videos on YouTube. What does that tell me? Probably Google search, right? Suggested videos, 6% of all my views. Browse features, another 6%. That's pretty wild. And yet the YouTube people are saying, don't worry about search, don't worry about search. Or at least a lot of them kind of preach that. That's ridiculous. Maybe not all niches are like this. Actually, I know all niches are not like this, but I found one that was, and there are others that are. I will say pizza, pickleball, fountain pens. I have brands and those other things. I don't have those YouTube channels yet because I just haven't had the time, but those are also, that would work well with my strategy here. There you go. I had another strategy. This is not in my notes, but I'll write down. I knew from the get-go, this was a side project to start. It was never going to be my full-time thing. Never was. But I don't have a lot of time to spend on this, so I'm not going to do a lot of editing. I think if you do YouTube, you have to have some editing, period. If you want good content needs editing for the most part. Unless you're a celebrity and you have billions of followers already and you can just do live streams or something like that. I didn't have that. I'm starting from scratch. But the niche allowed me to do less editing. The fact that it's a product niche and all I really had to do was show the product. This is not like pickleball where I have to literally get out there and play and I have to take my camera and all that stuff. I could do this stuff at my desk. I could just show the product for the most part, and I'd try to get away with minimal editing. That was my strategy from the beginning. I would rather, this is the important part. Are you listening? I would rather do more videos than fewer videos. More videos, no matter how they're edited, for me, was better than fewer videos, which were more edited. Whatever allowed me to get the most videos out. But there's a specific reason the strategy worked for me, and that's the niche. I know I'm taking a long time to get to my point. This is really hard to say, actually. That only worked because this niche had all those products. It's a video-first topic, right? Mechanical keyboards. There's a ton of products with not a lot of competition. I wanted to get all of those videos out. I wanted to review 1,000 keyboards and accessories or whatnot. And so that was my editing strategy. Get it out. Publish. Fast. A lot. And that worked. Over 2 years, 2.5 years, almost 3 years, 3-4 months off. Doesn't matter. I was trying to figure out how many videos I have. 79 videos. That's actually not. I was actually thinking I had like 100. I don't know. That's funny. Literally the 4th video on my channel has 500,000 views almost, which is kind of wild. I just realized that. The very 4th video I did a welcome video and I did 2 other videos, all of which have in the tens of thousands of views. I didn't actually realize that. Some of those first videos are just crushing it. Anyways, my point is I went for prolific, the most videos possible because of the niche. I don't know if that's helpful or not. Hopefully that's helpful. If it's not helpful, I'm sorry. So that was my overall strategy, but let's get a little bit more tactical. I'd like to share with you just what I did for thumbnails, titles, and the hooks. The hook of my video, meaning like the first 5 to 15 seconds-ish. So I call this find what works, repeat, because if you try to replicate exactly what I'm about to tell you I did, may or may not work for you. Obviously, you're going to want to find what works and repeat it and repeat it. This is what I did. The thumbnail. Let's tackle this first. There were a few things. I tried some things to start with, namely an outline, in my case, a yellow outline around the video thumbnail. So if you are browsing YouTube and you type in, I'm trying to think what I might rank for. How about VIA macros? I'm just going to type this in. I am result number 1. And if you were just browsing these results on your phone, I was just browsing through looking here. Yes, mine is the only one with a really bright border. In fact, I just saw 2 videos in search results, both of which have a really bright yellow border. It stands out a lot, even. I did that right from the start, and I think that helped. Another thing I did not do quite from the start, I'm actually going to go to YouTube and look up Gateron Milky Yellow. If you don't know what this is, don't worry about it. It's a product in my niche, and the number 1 result here as well. I showed the product. This is really great for YouTube if you're in a product niche. Show the product in the thumbnail. Crystal clear. A good, clear photograph is absolutely mandatory for product niches. And zoom in. This is what I did early on. Like I said, this was like the 3rd or 4th video I made. It was this Gateron Milky Yellow. You can search for it on YouTube right now and see this thumbnail. But I took a picture of them and I zoomed in. It's crystal clear. And I added huge text that says milky. It's literally just one word. Milky. I didn't put Gateron, milky yellow. If you go look at a bunch of my other videos, you'll see sort of the same thing. I did this, I found that it works, and I repeated it over and over and over and over again. 1 to 2, maybe 3 words, huge font size. And then I had like a little graphic that I did for milk. This thing, it has nothing to do with actual milk, by the way, but I put a milk graphic and I turned it yellow so it matches the thumbnail. And then that's it. So crystal clear picture of the product, which are pretty much all my videos are on some sort of product. Those that aren't, didn't have this, and I put myself in the thumbnail. But I'm not in like 90% of my thumbnails. The product is. And I put one huge word, sometimes like 3 words, and then like a little graphic just to make it fun and make it stand out that much more. And then the yellow border around. I found that this worked after the first like 2 or 3 videos, and I literally just duplicated the last video's thumbnail, changed it up a bit for this video, and then that's good. I was going to log into Canva to show you guys on the YouTube video, and I have like, how many? Like 80 or 100 now. Keep News YouTube thumbnail on Canva. I have my colors ready to go, and those of you listening to the podcast won't be able to see this, but I literally just like duplicated one week to week because I liked this format so much. And I did end up switching it around every now and then later to test. And whenever I did that, it didn't work as well, and I would end up going back. There's a bunch of different thumbnails that you can see on YouTube right now. If you're watching this on YouTube, they look a little different. That's because I tried something different out and it didn't work. So I found what works, and then I repeated it over and over and over again. I really think if you're starting a new YouTube channel, especially in the product niche, add an outline to your thumbnails. Super bright. It needs to absolutely pop and stand out. It's the first thing that grabs people searching anything on YouTube. People do this too. It's not just me, but not a lot of people, not a lot of my competitors do this. So titles was another one of those things. If you watch the YouTubers who teach you how to do thumbnails and titles, they say, don't worry about keywords. Don't worry about keywords. Don't worry about keywords. What works for me? Yes, you guessed it. Keywords. Keywords at the very beginning of the title. And again, this was straight out of Morning Fame. I did my keyword research in Morning Fame. By the way, on the podcast, you can go to dyeb.link/morningfame. It's my affiliate link, and it'll earn me sweet cash. But you also need a sign-up code to sign up. If you're going to try out Morning Fame, you have to have a referral code. And that's mine. Anyways, back to my point at hand. Keywords at the beginning. And then I experimented with a stinger at the end. I didn't know what to call this. Another little sentence or phrase that was a little bit more YouTube-y. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to look at some examples right here. Best keyboard ever, ? Or here's one. It was like, keyword, easy setup and remapping guide. Just little sentences. I would actually separate these with, I use slashes, 2 slashes, but I've seen people use colons. I've seen people use the little piping characters. I don't remember what those are called, the pipes, just to separate your title into 2 parts. My first part was always keyword related, and my second part, if it had any, was like a little clickbaity sort of thing, something to get people to click. I'm actually going to go in my analytics and sort by click-through rate, impressions, click-through rate, and look at some of my best click-through rate. I have some that are 21%, 20%, 20%, 19%, 18%. Really high click-through rates. On Do Given Blog YouTube channel, I don't think I have anything above like 8%. I'm guessing. Nothing, right? This is all geared towards search though. And so I have the very first video here is Texi Carrot Switch review. That's keyword. Texi, that's a brand. Carrot Switch review and sound test. And then I have, I didn't do piping on this one, but I did a, what are these called? Parentheses at the end. I put in don't lube. Like this is basically all caps, don't lube. You don't have to know what that means. But the point is I did keywords and then I did a little stinger statement. I didn't know what it's called. The stinger? That's ridiculous. The next one under that with a 20% click-through rate, 100,000 views is keyword, kale, box, jade, sound test, and review. And then I actually have parentheses that says so different in all caps. This is the YouTube thing, right? They tell you all caps, clickbait, got to get the click. that was always the second half of my title. The first half was always keywords. Okay, I think you get the point. I think I can move on. Lastly, the hook, the first 5-10 seconds of the video, it differs sometimes, but for the most part, I would say 90% of my videos have a simple, here's what I'm going to do. But I always included one dad joke in the very beginning. I think in that Gatorade Milky video, I wish I could play it for you right now. I'm not going to. But there was some dad joke or pun on milk. I don't even remember what it was. But I do this in every video. And it literally takes less than 15 seconds. It's generally like, I'm actually just going to do one for the Gatorade Milky switch. There we go. Do my best to replicate it. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the Gatorade Milky Yellow switch. And yeah, I'm going to milk that for all it's worth. I don't know if I said that. That isn't what I said, but every video is like that. It's literally just 10 seconds. Here's exactly what I'm going to do. One dad joke, usually, and then we're off to the races. I start the review. I start the unboxing for the keyboard or whatever. I do that every single video, period. That's it. Here's what I'm going to do. One dad joke or pun, just because that's me. That's my style. That's my brand. And then I'm into it. And that's it. So let me wrap up this episode today with some resources. I've only read one YouTube book ever, period, and it happened to be really good. I guess I've never read any more. It's by Daryl Eves. It's called The YouTube Formula. My buddy Nick recommended that. I think I asked him for recommendations. I read like 80% of it, and I don't think I actually finished it. It was really good. It was very helpful. I have an article and another podcast episode on my Do You Even Blog podcast feed. It's called How to Grow a YouTube Channel. Everything I Know. And it's a mega post. It's literally thousands and thousands and thousands of words. I'll link to it below this video and in the podcast description. And it covers stuff like cameras, tripods, editing, my approach to YouTube analytics, how to make decent content, other video tools, morning fame, all that stuff. That sort of stuff I have in a blog post and a 3-hour podcast. It's basically an audiobook. A 3-hour podcast called How to Grow a YouTube Channel. Everything I Know. So I'll link to that if you want to go check out more. And then Morning Fame. If you're into YouTube and you want to try out search especially, Morning Fame is the tool. It's the only tool that I can really recommend for that. And without further ado, we'll see you next time on the Do You Even Blog podcast and YouTube channel. Feel free to hit me up if you want to say, hey, Pete at doyouevenblog.com. I love you. Thanks.